probably Luka are sitting back there and saying, nope, this roster is perfect. When the trade initially happened, the conversation was less about this year and it was more about the future. So somebody threw this question out yesterday. We're having the conversation. Better roster right now, Lakers or the Mavs? If both teams are healthy, let's just say, which I think would be an incredible for TV purposes, for NBA purposes, for entertainment purposes. Let's say the Lakers and the Mavs were facing each other in the Western Conference Finals, like Kevin Garnett was predicting yesterday when I read that on the All the Smoke podcast. Who's got the better roster? Lakers or the Mavs? If Mavs are healthy, which team is more dangerous? Mavs are supposed to be competing right now. Nico Harrison didn't go make the trade and trade a 25-year-old Luka Doncic so that they could be competing 5 years from now. No. The Lakers made the trade just because the Lakers are saying, whatever the hell happens this year, happens this year. Yeah, I've said this before. I think they're playing with house money this year. And I think, I know people are going to want to say, no, they should be competing. I got some questions. When I start looking at the Lakers versus some of these other teams in the Western Conference, nobody can predict how the rest of this year is going to go. Now, I do have some stats that I think go in the Lakers' favor, but I think when you look at just these two teams for a quick second, we know when that trade went down, Nico Harrison was trying to compete in this next 2-3 year window to win a championship in Dallas. The Lakers were, okay, whether we're competing this year or they're not competing this year, the idea is we got our next superstar for the next 7 to 10 years, and you could build around Luka. But then we start watching some of this basketball, and I think specifically for all Laker fans out there, you saw that win against Denver and how easily it came and how great of a game Luka played, and you went on the road and you got a really, really tough win against a team that has completely owned you. And I think it's, going to start playing in people's psyche. It's like, maybe they can compete right now. Maybe they can truly be a competitor with some of these elite teams in the Western Conference. Maybe the West is wide open. But I thought last night, for me, if I'm just looking at Dallas's roster versus the Lakers roster, if the Mavs are actually healthy, their roster on paper is a more complete roster than the Lakers. Doesn't mean they beat the Lakers in a 7-game set. It doesn't mean that they're going to be healthy. But if you just look at their roster, I think it's very safe to say, okay, no, they have, you got your kind of your point guard in Kyrie Irving who can go off for 40 on any given night. You got, who do you want to use as your shooting guard? You pick, it's Clay, it's Christie, it's Caleb Martin, who they're eventually going to have back. They got their PJ Washington at 3. They got ridiculous size everywhere with Anthony Davis, Lively, Gafford. I don't know if they're going to be healthy, but on paper, that roster is obviously very talented. This came up yesterday, and I wanted to bring this in as a topic. I'm going to look at your comments in just a second. There was an article from Jovan Buha, The Athletic. Are the Lakers legitimate NBA Finals contenders? They're playing like it. So I started looking at Jovan's article and started kind of taking away some of the stats that were coming from there to make a case that the Lakers are a legitimate contender. The Lakers have the league's best record at 15-4 since January 15th. Okay. They rank number 1 in defensive rating and number 8 in offensive rating and number 3 in net rating, only behind the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay. I'm going to read here a couple more things just to kind of point out here. I'm not going to pay too close of attention of what their record is with Luka, because Luka didn't play in some of those games, and we'll obviously they got a couple bad losses. I mean, the loss obviously to Utah before the break, and then the loss against the Charlotte Hornets might be one of the worst losses of the season. Los Angeles is allowing, this is since Anthony Davis went down and then never played for the Lakers because then he got traded, is allowing just 105.9 points per 100 possessions, the best mark in the NBA. A lot of this stuff, if I told you once the Lakers traded for Luka, and we all had this just assumption like, okay, well, they're probably not going to compete for a championship this year. A lot of the stats tell you otherwise. A lot of the stats that, at least since January 15th, they're one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. How the hell is that possible? Okay, now you're going to add two of the best creators, playmakers, and high IQ players to ever play the game. And I'm talking about Luka and LeBron. And you get them in a 7-game set. How are they going to be able to slice and dice other teams? It's kind of going to be fascinating to watch and to see, where this all goes. But if you thought initially the Lakers are not supposed to be a contender once they made that trade and this move was more about the future, they're not playing like that. They're not playing like that. But over this 19-game stretch, best record in the NBA, 19 games is over a third of the season, so something to keep in mind. It's not like it's a tiny sample size, but it's something to keep in mind as the season progresses. All right, if you enjoyed this clip and you want more, just subscribe to the channel. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. is the Sliwa Show. And then after every Lakers game, post-game show right here.